I made this cookie coffee table, outside cookie coffee table, about 6 months ago. And before I put it outside, I gave it 6 coats of a yacht varnish based finish that I thought would have been perfect for being outside on the patio. But it is completely ruined, all but destroyed. The finish has really let me down. It was really badly cut, so I've had it upside down for about a week in this heat that we're currently having in the heat wave, and it's flattened out a bit, but I've got this massive crack and there's a bit of a difference in height there. I'm going to try and clamp out, so I'm going to have a go at repairing this and see if I can bring it back again and use a different finish. In fact, the finish I'm going to use is the one I used on the patio furniture. Again, I'll put a link to that video down below. So this, I'm going to have to make an infill for. But first off, I'm going to take a belt sander to it and see if it'll come back to life. Well, that took a belt sander about 20 minutes. Top bit of kit, much overlooked bit of kit for fine furniture and fine cabinetry work. So my trusty belt sander has brought that back from death's door. I think that's really come back up well. I got some blackening around the edges, but I don't think there's anything I can do with that. So I'm going to move to 120 grit on the Rotex. Got a bit of Merca paper on there. See how well that lasts as opposed to the 3M Cubitron that I usually use. And we'll give this a bit of a polish and then we'll look at this. That's the top sanded to 120, and now I'm going to see if I can stabilise this split because there's a bit of flex. So this side here is flexing down, or this one's flexing up a little bit. And I want to try and get that out as much as I can. So I'm thinking if I clamp it like that, there's about a millimetre difference there now, which I can sand out on the top. That won't be an issue. So if I take this piece of oak and route it in underneath and then glue and screw it, that should help to stop this flexing, and maybe even the pressure on this will help flatten out a little bit more. I'm going to use Gorilla Glue for this. Used it before a few times and I think it's superb. 100% waterproof, indoor outdoor rated. So I'm damping this just a little because it's water activated. Gotta be careful not to put too much in there. So we'll apply a bit and spread it around. And if my chiseling skills have faded and I've got voids at the bottom, then this will fill it. But because it expands, it needs most awesome clamping, which I have. Let's get this in. These heavy duty Bessie clamps on it, which are pretty amazing. And we'll leave that go off overnight. So it's tomorrow already, and let's see whether this idea's worked. Cool, feels like it. So I was initially thinking that I would let in a piece on the top surface similar to the bottom, obviously taking a bit more care, but this is end grain, so I really need to let in end grain, and I don't have anything big enough not to do that in one piece, so I'd end up having to join two pieces, and I think that would just look awful. Plus I've got this that I need to fill, so I'm thinking it's going to have to be resin. So for sealing the bottom, I'm thinking hot glue will be perfect. So the gun I've got is a Tech 8 2012. And this is a wood repair crack filler system. So you get different coloured sticks. And it's, when it goes off, you can actually plane it and chisel it. It's a brilliant idea if your crack or split is big enough to warrant getting this thing out and warming up a load of glue. Hopefully you can see in here, but all I'm doing is squidging a load into the cracks so the resin doesn't pour out. For this crack, which will hopefully come off with a chisel. If it doesn't, I might be in trouble. So fingers crossed. Just this bit here. think this should be enough to find out whether I've got leaks or not. And yep, I got a leak. Okay, second pour, because the first one pretty much leaked out all over the bloody floor. There were a couple of little spots that I missed. And naturally, it found its way out. So fingers crossed, this one will do better. It's the time factor that's the worst bit, I think. So I'm only dealing with such a tiny bit of wastage of resin, but the time it takes to wait for it all to set, and once again we wait. So that's all held and gone off now. So this is pour number 2 or number 3, depending on which way you look at it. Okay, it's been sat for a good couple hours and I can see no leaks, so I'm going to chance my arm with another cupful, because I'm feeling brave. Or stupid. And finally, last top up. I've added a couple of little squirts of hot glue at the back there just to make sure it doesn't escape. My resin's gone off, it's had about 4 days and it's rock solid. So to try and take it apart, no idea how well this is or isn't going to go. Pretty good. So for the finish this time, I consulted with my friends at Barratine and they've recommended a 2-stage process. This preservative first, followed by the same finish that I used on the patio table in an earlier video I did. I'll put a link to it below. So Everything else, Barantine have told me, all full disclosure, they gave me this, I didn't pay for it. Everything else that I've used from Barantine has been superb. Not because they gave it to me, but because it's actually worked. The patio furniture still looks superb. So I've high hopes for this. So here goes, it gets a coat of this all over. Just soaking it up there. Dry as a bone after all of that heat wave we had. I'm really not trying to spread it at all, because I want it to soak in, to penetrate. So I'll give it a coat of this all over and then leave it the requisite time, which is 24 hours. And then we'll do the top coat. So 24 hours later, after the primer, and the surface is still beautifully smooth, no need to re-sand, so it's on to the finish. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I'm going to be using exactly the same finish that I used on the patio furniture, because it's just doing a superb job. Again, Baratine's, and again, they sent it to me, the Ultimate UV Protection Oil. Let's give it a good old stir. I'm going to use short pile roller as I did before, because it just makes application a dream. And we'll start with the bottom. 2 to 3 coats, the directions say. But the table, the patio table I did before, soaked up loads, so I ended up having 6. As you can see, application using a roller is like lightning. Quicker than spraying, because you haven't got the clean-up. And this is the bit we all want to see, isn't it? What's it gonna make it look like? That's come up really well. The speed of application with a roller just really blows me away. So quick. You can see it soaking in like already. I think this will be 5 or 6. To make sure it doesn't break down again. So 5 or 6 coats. The last thing I want to do is to be cleaning that out every time. So what I do, pour that little bit of leftover back in the tin, and then I get my trusty sandwich bag, freezer bag. This is a Tesco's freezer bag, but other brands are available. I just nicked that one from inside, so that'll sit in there until I need it again later today. The tin says I can give it a coat every 4 to 6 hours based on conditions. So this is the table now after 2 coats, and hopefully the camera's picking it up that some parts have already sealed, but other parts have really soaked it in. And there's quite a bit of sealing still left to do to get a complete sealed, finished surface on it. But it does need a little bit of de-nibbing now. Not a lot. Just to get rid of some airborne particles that have dropped onto it. Because I'm in a dusty old workshop. So this is coat number 3. I know I've said it before, but it is so easy putting this finish on with a roller. The only bind is having to wait for the finish to dry. But the sun's coming back out and we're in for another heat wave. So after 6 coats, this is what I've got. I think the finished product now looks better than it did the first time I did it. Really chuffed with the way it's come out. This infill, I think, looks superb. And even this original infill has come out looking better. The shine on the table, I really like. That's a personal thing, whether you like it or not. But it's almost got a plasticized look to it. And I really like it. And if it lasts as long on this as it's doing on the patio table, I'll be absolutely delighted with it. But time will tell now. So 6 months or so time, I'll post a little update so you can see how it looks. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, give us a thumbs up and maybe a subscribe. Ta-ra.